Folks, Syria, what is happening? Breaking news moments ago. I have to, okay, I'm glad you hear us. Now, I got to wait just a minute or so. It is 12:32 p.m. Central Standard Time. There's been breaking news that have come out just in recent minutes, within the past 30 minutes or so. Donald Trump, or the Trump administration, has launched airstrikes. A strong or a good amount of airstrikes against Syria. And I got the reports right here. It says here, man, this is crazy. And look, folks, I please understand, I'm broadcasting right now in the outskirts of San Antonio, Texas. There is a major lightning storm that happened approximately 35 minutes ago, the time that this news broke over on our end. I want to bring, okay, I'm trying to go back here because there's so much coming out right now concerning this. If you're just tuning in, welcome. God bless each and every one of you for tuning in. We got breaking news concerning Syria. The Trump administration has done it. They have launched airstrikes on Damascus, Syria. This is Bible prophecy. Damascus will cease from being a city. Now, I don't think these airstrikes did that. I don't think that they actually caused Damascus to cease from being a city, but all hell is about to break loose over in the Middle East. All right, so let me give you the latest updates. The latest updates. It says here, Iran. The nation of Iran has warned of regional consequences following airstrikes in Syria by a coalition of the United States. Listen, the U.S., Britain, and France have launched the airstrikes against Syria in the cities of Damascus, which is the capital of Syria, and the other city called Homs. It says here, according to the Iranian foreign minister, or the ministry statement from the Iranian Foreign Ministry office, they said, and I quote, "The United States of America and its allies have no proof." Folks, contact someone, tell them that we're live right now because they need to know what's going on. We are living in the last days. This is big time prophecy happening right before our very eyes in real time. Okay, again, it says here, this is from the Iranian Foreign Ministry. They said the United States and its allies have no proof, and without even waiting for the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons to take a position, have carried out this military airstrike, or actually they're calling it a military attack. Iran's foreign ministry said in a statement. They went on to say the coalition will be responsible for the regional consequences of this adventurous action. Now, Iran, many of you know, Iran is a key backer alongside Russia of Syria, really the Syrian president Bashar al-Assad, providing military advisors for the past 2 years approximately, and ground forces, many of which they call volunteer. Tehran, Iran officials have said that the Western powers were using last week's alleged chemical attack. Please understand that the chemical attack, many are saying, is alleged. It's not even really confirmed that it happened, and it's definitely not confirmed if Syrians, it's lightning. There's a massive lightning storm here. I don't know how the weather is where you guys are at, but it's been lightning for the past 35 minutes here. It's been the most bizarrest thing. Anyway, it's honestly, it looks biblical. I'm wondering if anybody else is experiencing this as we're broadcasting live on the outskirts of San Antonio, Texas. Anyway, it says here, the Tehran, Iran officials have said that the Western powers were using last week's alleged chemical attack on the rebel-held stronghold of Douma as an excuse to undermine the Syrian regime's recent advances in the long-running civil war. 7 Iranians were killed in an airstrike on a Syrian military base just this past Monday. Again, it's a hotbed right now over in Syria and in many locations in the Middle East. The 7 Iranians that were killed in an airstrike on Syrian military base just this past Monday, Iran claims was carried out by the nation of Israel. Okay, these are all biblical players, folks. The nation of Israel, the nation of Iran, Syria, you have the U.S., the European nations, but particularly speaking, the Middle Eastern nations it's all in the Bible concerning end times and this distress of nations with perplexity that is currently happening. We have other reports coming in. from a Julian Borger. She's reporting from Washington. She says that the U.S. relied on a large body of evidence pointing towards the Assad regime's responsibility for the chemical weapons attack on Douma. So that's their justification for launching these airstrikes. We also have others coming in saying that this is just nonsense. This is very complex in what's taking place, and it's going to cause a massive, massive war. You have the French Foreign Minister Le Drian that says just now, she tweeted just moments ago, the red line set out by Macron last year was crossed. Syrian regime's use of chemical weapons was not acceptable. And again, folks, this is Britain, the United States of America, and other Western allies, this is their excuse as to launching these chemical attacks, or these airstrikes. They didn't launch a chemical attack not that we know of. Come on. But the point is, I'm talking about just moments ago. Russia. What is Russia saying about all this, folks? Well, Russia is now warning of consequences. They are saying that there will be consequences because of these airstrikes that they warned was not to take place. It says Russia's foreign ministry, Maria Zakharova, has condemned the United States over its airstrikes on Syria that just happened moments ago. She said the attacks hit a long troubled country that for many years has been trying to survive terrorist aggression. Well, in a statement that she just posted to Facebook just this past Saturday, she was criticizing the Western media for its coverage, which it says informed the White House for its attacks. She says, and I quote, the White House stated that its assuredness of the chemical attack from Damascus was based on mass media. So again, you have this Russia's foreign ministry woman by the name of Maria saying that she was told by the White House that, she and all of the Russian government was assured from the White House that the chemical attack from Damascus was just simply based on mass media. They were not going to jump the gun on this. The reports of symptoms, video photos, as well as credible information. It's just all mass hysteria. And then we're going to take a calmer head on this and not jump the gun. Well, now she's claiming that this situation, these current airstrikes that just hit Syria moments ago in the city of Damascus and in the city of Homs, have now been compared to the situation as it was with the start of the Iraq war back in 2003. Again, based on claims Iraq was developing weapons of mass destruction. Now, with all this, Syrian state-run TV is now reporting that 3 civilians have been wounded in the U.S.-led missile attack on on a particular military base over in the city of Homs in Syria. Reports say that the attack was largely thwarted by the derailing, check this out, of the incoming missiles, but add that nonetheless 3 people were wounded. So Syria, more than likely, I'm sure with the help of Russia and Iran, had some type of missile defense system to be able to block some, if not many, of the airstrikes that were coming in from the U.S. However, the U.S. were still able to hit some targets. Reports say the attack was largely thwarted, again, by the derailing of incoming missiles. The TV network over in Syria says a separate attack of a number of missiles. Folks, the U.S. was going off just moments ago on attacking Syria's, some areas over in Syria, particularly Damascus and Homs. Anyway, a number of missiles targeting a scientific research center destroyed a building and caused other material damage, but no human losses. The network said the building in the research center included an education center and other laboratories. Then you have Theresa May of the United Kingdom, because the UK was drawn into this as well. You had Britain, you had UK and the US all coming into an agreement, all launching airstrikes, or I should say really the airstrikes. I got to get more information on that. I know for sure the U.S. launched the airstrikes. All 3 nations worked together tonight, and we'll see if we get you some more information on that. But Theresa May spoke out on this, and she has spoken from number 10 on the airstrikes in Syria, drawing a direct link between the strikes and the alleged Russian nerve agent attacks in Salisbury last month. And so she was quoted as saying, "We cannot allow the use of chemical weapons to become normalized within Syria, on the streets of the UK, or anywhere else in our world. We would have preferred an alternative path, but on this occasion, there is none." Folks, are they looking for war? Is this going to be the beginning of World War III? God forbid. God forbid, in Jesus' name. Now, there's reports, there's videos, folks. I don't know if I would be able to even show you all the video, but there's videos purporting to be from Damascus, showing Syrian air defense firing at incoming missiles with the dawn call to prayer in the city in the background. Now, I may actually be able to show you this. Let me see what I can do. I got another cell phone here, and let's just see how far we go here, okay? I'm going to go from one cell phone to another and see if I can actually show you the video that we have here. Let's see if I can make sure this is up. How do I do this? Hold on. Just give me a second, folks. All right, so let me see if I can show y'all. Those are airstrikes. Those little dots. And that's the call to prayer over in Syria just this morning when these airstrikes were launched. All those dots are incoming missiles, airstrikes from the U.S. into Damascus. You hear that noise? That was, I don't know how clear that came in, but anyway, again, that's a video purporting to be from Damascus, showing Syrian air defense firing at incoming missiles with the dawn call to prayer in the city in the background. And now you have the Syrian government will likely portray the attack as showing Syria's steadfastness against foreign aggression, handing a win to the Assad regime. And as mentioned earlier, Syrian state TV has already called the attack the tripartite aggression, drawing a parallel to the Suez Canal campaign back in 1956 against Egypt, an evocative Arab nationalist movement at the time. So now you have the Syrian government that is confirming that one of the attacks hit, again, a scientific research facility in Barze near Damascus just moments ago, which they say destroyed an education center and scientific laboratories, but didn't cause any casualties in that particular area. Again, we just reported that at least 3 Syrian civilians have been killed in the U.S. airstrikes. Its description, they say, would correspond with what the U.S. says is a chemical weapons research facility in that area. But folks, listen, they have footage. It's real. It's already past the early morning hours in Damascus, Syria. State television has broadcasted pictures of the city showing very heavy traffic in the midst of the airstrikes, and this being in a bid to demonstrate an apparently unperturbed city for this, for this region. So there were 3 named targets of the airstrike that just took place within the past hour or so from the U.S., from Britain, and from the United Kingdom into Syria. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about some breaking news concerning airstrikes. Russia is beside themselves, folks. Russia is already warning of consequences. What are the consequences? What's going to happen? Has the Trump administration just started World War III? Now, I know many people say, well, evangelists, come on. Syria's gassing its own people, and Syria's showing, they got pictures of kids, Western media has pictures of kids looking all gassed out and they're just dying. Well, listen, none of it has been confirmed. None of it. And with that, it definitely has not been confirmed that it was indeed President Bashar al-Assad who did those alleged chemical attacks. So this is really, it looks to be very premature, on these airstrikes that took place. But again, the White House claims that they had their proof. Would have been nice to share the proof publicly, seeing as that they were willing to share the pictures of the kids and, let it be made known that if the U.S., Britain, and the United Kingdom ends up going into World War III, we know why. At least there'll be some type of proof. We have no proof. Anyway. 3 named targets on the airstrikes. Again, the U.S.-led airstrikes on Syria that targeted sites in the capital of Damascus and in the city of Homs. Are you saved? Folks, are you saved? Is Jesus Christ your Lord? Because you don't know when your time will end. Folks, time is up. This is biblical what is taking place. There was a severe lightning storm that was it was out of hand. I've never seen anything like it. My whole household was outside within the past 40 minutes or so. And it was stunning. And I was like, is this worldwide? Is this just happening here? Anyway, and it was literally not too long after that we got this report that this took place. And it's all biblical. The nation of Syria well, Damascus, Syria, is Bible prophecy. Is located in the book of Isaiah, chapter 17, verse 1, that Damascus will cease from being a city. Damascus will become a ruinous heap. It also says in the entirety of that chapter, it mentions the nation of Israel. And we have been ones who have really claimed and proclaimed that the nation of Israel will be the one who brings Damascus to cease from being a city. Well, of course, now we know the nation of Israel is definitely involved, and the nation of Iran is involved, Russia, which is a huge end-time player in biblical prophecy. Please understand, when I talk about biblical prophecy, I'm not talking about some kind of fairy tale movie idea. This is real. This is facts. This is happening in real time. This is happening in our face. Why? Because we're living in the last days. This is the last generation. Truly, truly, the day of the Lord is at hand. I got a couple of more updates for you, if you don't mind hanging out with me here for just a few more minutes. Reports have emerged, just as we discussed, from Damascus, with the Syrian government saying that it was able, check this out, Syria is really, they're patting themselves on the back right now, because they're saying that they were able to absorb the U.S.-led airstrikes on the capital and homes thanks to a warning from Russia. Okay, so Russia was able to get into the cables of the communications that were taking place. Probably has some kind of undercover, people here in the White House or what have you. And, they were able to give Syria a heads up. And if it wasn't for that, they would have really been bombarded. But because they got a warning from Russia, they were able to absorb, meaning that they had their own, missile defense system. Syria says it was able to shoot down. Now, this didn't happen the first time. Okay, but Syria says it was able to shoot down about a third of the 30 missiles that were fired upon its territory. Now, I say the first time because we remember last year, shortly after Donald J. Trump, the president of the U.S., was, inaugurated and finally got into the White House. He met with the president of China, Xi Jinping, over some chocolate cake and launched some airstrikes around 70, 80 Tomahawk, missiles at the time to Syria. And they said this will not happen again. Well, it happened again. And not only that, Russia has put out a firm warning that this will not go unpunished, that there will be consequences. That came out tonight. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But again, that's why I go back to my original question, are you saved? Because really all hell could break loose. Now, I know many may say, well, no, that's over there. It'll never come here. That's over there. It'll never come to the U.S. or Britain or the United Kingdom. Well, I'll tell you this, folks. What happens in Syria will not stay in Syria. They will launch if it goes that far. Make no mistake about it. Russia has submarines in the waters off the east coast of the United States and the west coast of the United States and both north and south of the United States. They go undetected. Why? Because of their because of their sophisticated technology, military technology that they've been investing in for years. With who? With China. China and Russia, they've both been doing, both nations have been working with each other. It's no secret that they no longer, trade with the U.S. currency. It's no secret that they've been increasing their relationship and building up their military. Now, I know many say that, we would give them a run for their money. We would, really give, we'd put up a fight here in the U.S. if it ever came down to fighting and, going to war with Russia. Not if you're talking about China as well. Because listen, folks, and I break this down a little bit more. When we're talking about U.S., we're not just talking about the U.S. Don't forget they're part of NATO. NATO has a good amount of other nations, of course, particularly Western allies that will come and fight on behalf of the United States against Russia. And Russia knows this. That's why it's order against order. I'm not talking about New World Order. That's the Antichrist beast system. And that's coming up very soon, by the way. So you need to get saved. But I'm talking about current order versus current order. And you have a Western order versus an order that, it's very pro. They're just against the U.S., the Western mindset, and now Russia wouldn't be warring by themselves. You have China, you have Iran, you have Syria, you have North Korea. Don't be surprised. North Korea would absolutely be a player in teaming up with China. You would also have, believe it or not, a lot of South American countries. I don't know how many of you all even remember where President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, back in 2014, 2015, I think it was around 2014, went ahead and did a nice little tour over in South America. Well, it wasn't to get some Cuban cigars. It was to meet up and plan and to get back that base. Remember that base during the Cold War called the Lourdes base over in Cuba? Well, he made real nice and chummy with many South American nations. Why? Because we are looking at a second Cold War. It may not be very cold, though. It's looking more like a hot war. And folks, we just need to make sure our lives are right with God. Okay, we need to make sure our lives are right with God. Let's see what other updates I have for you here. Okay, I want to give you, this is from the Syrian government. Okay, the Syrian government. And its allies, just as I stated, they've absorbed a U.S.-led attack on Saturday, and the targeted sites were evacuated days ago. This is stunning, folks. This didn't come as a surprise to Syria. I'm going to repeat what I said. The Syrian government and its allies. Who's the allies of Syria? Well, that includes Russia. That includes China. That includes the nation of Iran, at least. At least. Let's continue. It says here, the targeted sites were evacuated days ago, thanks to a warning from Russia. A senior official in a regional alliance that backs Damascus said. They said, and I quote, "We have absorbed a strike. We had an early warning of the strike from the Russians, and all military bases were evacuated a few days ago." Now, we reported on this here at Open Your Eyes, people. Just a couple of days ago, we talked about how there was movement. Remember? We were talking about how things were being moved. So a lot of military infrastructure, a lot of military, the tanks and all that good stuff. They were moving stuff out in the submarines. This is good because how did we launch? We launched from submarines out in the ocean. I got to remember what ocean, but the point is that we weren't launching from land. We were launching from the water into land, and so Russia was already there. We're on sonar. None of this is hidden anymore. Things have gotten so advanced technologically wise that everybody knows what everybody's business is doing. It's just crazy. But let's continue. It says here, we had an early warning of the strike from the Russians, and all the military bases were evacuated a few days ago. Around 30 missiles were fired in the attack just moments ago, which is about an hour ago or so, and a third of them were shot down. So again, Syria's patting themselves on the back. This just happened tonight, folks. This just happened tonight if you're just tuning in. The Syrian official went on to say, "We are carrying out an assessment of the material damages." Now, understand the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has been backed in a 7-year-long Syrian war by Russia, Iran, and Iran-backed Shiite groups across the region, including Lebanon and Hezbollah. Definitely don't want to forget those players as well that will be backing the Syrian regime. This is amazing. Let's see if I got any more updates here before I let you guys go. Okay, so I may have some more updates real quick here, okay? Let's see here. What do we have? Boris Johnson of the United Kingdom, he welcomes the news of the United Kingdom military strikes against major chemical weapons facilities in Syria, alongside our U.S. and French allies. The world is united, he says in a tweet, in its disgust for any use of chemical weapons, but especially against civilians. That's from Boris Johnson over in the UK. So he's speaking for everybody. He says, listen, I'm speaking for the world. Syria, Russia, we don't like you. Now, is he speaking for you? He's not speaking for me. I never talked to the guy, But let me give you some more information. It says here, again, another fresh update. I'm giving you, listen, this is as fresh as... I'm not going to go there. I was thinking about meat from a cow, and just the point is this is fresh news, okay? We're live on air right now. It says here, Donald Trump has launched airstrikes alongside United Kingdom and French forces aimed at reducing Syrian regime's chemical weapons facilities in the wake of last week's gas attack on the Damascus suburb of Douma. Moments after the president's address finished, reports emerged of explosions. Okay, did you know that the president had an address tonight? And he talked about this, not too much detail, but he talked about this. But moments after the president did his address, reports emerged of explosions in Damascus. A Pentagon briefing later confirmed 3 sites were hit. We talked about this, 2 in Damascus, 1 in Homs. The sites were all regarded as linked to storage or testing of chemical weapons. Syrian air defense responded to the strikes, but the U.S. said it suffered no losses in the initial airstrikes. Now, I got a fresh update from Russia. I already told you, Russia said the consequences is coming, right? I said it. Well, now we have Anatoly Anatonov, the Russian ambassador to the U.S. He said, and I quote, "Such actions," check this out, "such actions will not be left without consequences." What does that mean? Such actions will not be left without consequences, he said. Moscow was being threatened. He said Moscow was being threatened. He goes on to say the following. This is the ambassador, the Russian ambassador to the United States of America, Anatoly Antonov. He said also, and I quote, "Insulting the president of Russia is unacceptable and inadmissible." I mean, are those fighting words? What are they going to do? Listen, folks, I want to tell you this. They've already been working. Russia's already been working against the U.S. Russia has their submarines, like I said, both north, south, east, and west off the coasts, plural, of the United States of America. And you're not left alone, Canada. You're not, they didn't exclude you, Britain or UK. They are everywhere. And they've been working on these cables underwater here off the coast of the U.S. Cabled. Why? What's going on? What are they planning, folks? Won't be left unpunished. That's the warning from Russia. Was Trump eating some chocolate cake as he was launching this? We don't know. Was it apple pie this time? We don't know. All we know is that we're living in the last days. And this is breaking news. I don't know what's going to happen. But you need to get saved. And I mean this. We said yesterday, I don't know how many of you all were on our live broadcast yesterday, but we reported, we made it very clear that Russia, or was it yesterday, right? Yesterday or Wednesday. But we said Russia, or not Russia, we said the United States of America was going to launch Thursday night. No, it's Friday, but the point is that they launched. And it was within 24 hours. And things could go happen quick, very fast. And so we want to make sure that our lives are right with God. And, I don't know if they're thinking about the people, folks. I don't know if they're are we ready to go to war? Is this going to lead to a world war? Again, many people say this will just be in Syria or around the Middle East. We won't be touched. We won't be touched. You want to be careful with that. Because we're not talking about Saddam Hussein, We're not talking about the Arab Spring where all these leaders went down because of the fake Arab Spring that took place. We're talking about Russia now. We're talking about China. It's not just Syria. That's going to be very interesting. The day of the Lord is at hand. Give your life to Christ. I'm talking about Jesus Christ. The day of the Lord is at hand. God loves you. He loves you very much. It's His perfect love that casts out fear. Please give your life to Christ. Don't ignore this part of tonight's broadcast. You're hearing this news for a reason. You're not here by an accident. You're not here by an accident. I'm not just talking about this broadcast. I'm talking about your birth. The mere fact that you're alive on this planet at this very moment. You're not here by accident. You have a purpose. Doesn't matter what anybody's ever told you. Oh, you don't have a purpose. I wish you were never born. You shouldn't be here. I don't know why I had you. God says, I know why I had you. And I'm glad you were born. I'm the one who formed you in your mother's womb. Even if nobody wants you, I want you. You got to get saved. There's no excuses. God loves you very much. His day is coming, folks. I'm telling you, we're living in the last days. This is with absolutely no hesitancy to understand that we are living in the last days. And I speak that forth because it is being led by God Himself. Get more information on our ministry, what it means to have your name written in the Lamb's Book of Life on our website, www.openyoureyespeople.com, www.openyoureyespeople.com. The day of the Lord is at hand. God bless you.